I am Sunshine Johnston, owner and operator of Sunbolt Grown, located here in Red Crest, California. What I am most proud of on my farm is that I could pick up my farm and move it and turn this back into a horse pasture, and that this land here is being preserved for future generations, that I do not use water, that I do not use fertilizer in my field, and that by doing so, I am bringing out the best expression of what this plant has to offer. We do dry farming, which means we don't use any water when we are planted in the ground. I also want to eliminate the use of plastics. In my drying and curing, I use these black waterproof breathable tarps, and that raises the heat in my drying sheds enough to where I don't have to use dehumidifiers or heaters. I might use fans in there, but I lower my power quite a bit with those drying tents. I also do companion planting. I grow flowers that attract beneficial insects.
So your approach to cannabis cultivation is dry farming. Can you tell me just a few basic steps on how that gets started?
Here we have, this is a beautiful clay loam. That's why when you walk on it, it feels like it's kind of pillowy, you're kind of floating on it. It's really like, it's kind of bouncy soil, as I call it. It feels really like you're walking on a pillow.
Yeah, it does.
The water is actually moving up the soil here. So what we want to do is we want to encourage the water to come up. And one way we do that is using a hula hoe, or with the disc initially, and we break up any kind of crust on the soil. And then that allows the soil capillaries to pull the water up. It's just, I feel so blessed to have this soil, and it's so good just the way it is that I'm very careful about how I treat the soil structure and also any kind of fertilizer inputs that I add to the soil here. I would advise new farmers coming into this, when being confronted with regulations, that you do need good operations, and you want to be thinking about how to run your farm with those regulations. And there's a tendency to want to pay consultants to do a lot of work for you, but when it comes to the environmental part, you really want to do it yourself. Because if you do it yourself, then you know what you are doing for the land and what you need to do for the land, and you don't have to be told so often. It is a lot of work, and it's a farm, and you have to be optimistic and deal with a lot of uncertainties. The life of a cannabis farmer is a good life.